안녕하세요, 게임반다입니다. 모탈컴뱃 1의 스토리와 별개로 각 캐릭터의 개별 엔딩이 존재하는데요. 타이탄 생숭을 격파한 캐릭터들의 개별 엔딩을 준비해봤습니다. 과연 모탈컴뱃 1의 캐릭터들 각자의 엔딩은 어떤 스토리일지 지금부터 한번 같이 알아보시죠. 유명 액션 배우인 자니 케이지는 평판은 썩 좋지 못한 배우였습니다. 그는 벌어들인 돈을 흥청망청 과소비한 탓에 파산 지경에 놓이고 마는데요. 그런 그에게 지쳐버린 애인마저 떠나버립니다. 인생 내리막 위기에 처한 자니 케이지 앞에 어스렐름의 구제를 요청하는 리우캉이 나타나는데요. 그는 자신을 도와준다면 인생의 새로운 국면을 맞을 것이라 얘기합니다.
Since this whole thing kicked off, I'd wondered why Liu Kang chose me to be a champion. I mean, sure, I was killing it as a martial arts star, but it's one thing when it's all for show. It's different when you're playing for keeps. Then Liu Kang let me in on his master plan. He wanted the masses to know about the world beyond them, the one filled with gods and monsters. And he wanted me to tell him about it. But I knew revealing the truth all at once would be too shocking of a plot twist for most. That's why I pitched doing a bunch of stories, to slowly get people used to it. And if there's one thing I can do, besides kick ass in combat, it's build a cinematic universe. I'm serving up movies, streaming series, games, you name it. I like that I'm doing a public service. And it doesn't hurt that I'm making more than a few bucks. It's the kind of synergy that would make any studio mogul proud.
타이라 가문의 야쿠자 켄시. 그는 가문의 검 센토를 찾기 위해 자니와 결투를 하게 되는데 검을 얻어 야쿠자가 되어버린 현재 가문의 명예를 되찾고 싶어 했죠. 그리고 때마침 찾아온 리우캉의 전사로 발탁되며 합류하는데요. 불의의 사고로 밀리나에게 두 눈을 잃게 된 켄시는 자니의 목숨을 구해준 보답으로 가문의 검 센토를 얻게 됩니다. 그 후 조상의 기운이 깃든 센토를 다루게 되면서 진정한 맹인 검객으로 거듭나게 됩니다.
I wasn't looking for allies against the Yakuza, but I found one in Special Agent Jackson Briggs. He'd heard gangsters plotting to kill me on a wiretap and came calling, hoping I'd be his informant. We planned to part ways when we got the job done. But then, Shang Tsung showed up to steal Sento. Needless to say, Jackson had questions. It blew his mind to hear that the stories in Johnny's movies were real. Once the shock wore off, Jackson quickly sized up the threats Earthrealm faced. To deal with them, he got his bosses at the FBI to form the Outworld Investigation Agency. When he asked me to sign on, I hesitated. After all, me? A government agent? But it's an important job. And more importantly to me, an honest living.
네더렐름 소속의 그림자 자매단 아슈라. 그녀는 환치 세력의 일원이었지만 렐름을 더럽히려는 그의 음모를 저지하기 위해 나타났죠. 크리스라는 검을 사용해 악을 징벌함으로써 자신을 정화해 인간이 되고 싶었고 어스렐름과 아웃월드를 보고 난 뒤 새로운 인생을 살기로 합니다.
I couldn't believe that Liu Kang welcomed me in Earthrealm, or that he thought me worthy to study with his Shaolin masters. After a lifetime of wishing for one, I finally had a home. But my joy was tempered as I thought about Serena. My shadow sister was still under Quan Chi's yoke, and she deserved a life free of him as much, if not more, than I. Quan Chi and my other sisters proved tenacious, but they were no match for my blade. I snatched Serena from them. Then Liu Kang helped me break Quan Chi's spell. Her mind free of his influence for the first time in years, Serena chose to join me in Earthrealm. My sister and I once again fight side by side. Only now we do so for Earthrealm. Together, we have formed the Order of Light.
아웃월드의 타르타칸 종족인 바라카. 그들은 타르카트라는 전염병을 앓는 사람들이었는데 몸이 기형적으로 변하고 피의 굶주린 괴물이 되는 탓에 아웃월드에서 추방당해 살고 있었죠. 원래 부유한 상인이었던 바라카는 타르카트 병으로 아내와 자식들을 잃은 기구한 사연이 있었는데 그렇다 보니 타르카탄 종족에 대한 강한 책임감과 의지가 있었습니다. 그는 켄시 일행에게 생숭의 음모를 듣게 되고 그들과 동행해 도움을 주게 됩니다.
While the regime had changed, little else had. My people still suffered in silence, ignored by the rest of Outworld. Though now I knew Empress Melina's secret, that she was also afflicted with Tarkat. If anyone would help, it would be her. But how to get an audience? Syzoth. He was the Empress's new emissary to the Zaterrans. I asked him to introduce us. At great personal risk, he agreed. And as I'd prayed, the Empress was willing to meet. Even better, she would visit the colony. She was shocked to see how we lived. She moved quickly to provide for our care and comfort. Thanks to the Empress and Syzoth, we Tarkatans are no longer pariahs. Until our disease can be cured, that will do.
자테란 종족의 변신 능력자 reptile. 그는 원래 도마뱀의 형상을 하고 있지만 인간으로 변신할 수 있는 능력을 지녔는데요. 생숭에게 잡혀있는 자신의 가족을 구하기 위해 그에게 변신술을 알려주고 어쩔 수 없이 켄시 일행을 감옥에 가두게 됩니다. 하지만 생숭이 이미 자신의 가족을 없애버렸다는 것을 알게 되고 분노한 그는 켄시 일행의 탈출을 돕게 되는데요. reptile은 리우캉을 만난 뒤 생숭의 침략을 저지하는 격투가로 합세해 활약하게 됩니다.
After fleeing Outworld, I hadn't expected to return. But then I also hadn't expected the new Empress to make me an offer I couldn't refuse. To thank me for helping stop General Shao's rebellion, she asked me to be her emissary to the Zaterrans. Going home, bearing the seal of the royal house, I would show, once and for all, that my mutation wasn't to be feared. That it wasn't a source of shame. To my surprise, I was welcomed. But those warm smiles hid a dark secret. I stumbled upon a trove of official records which showed that my shape-shifting ability isn't unique. Many Zaterrans are born with it, but are killed by their government to keep it from spreading. Who started this barbaric policy? Who is now enforcing it is unknown. But I will find out. And I will put an end to this madness.
불의 신이자 어스렐름의 수호자 리우캉. 그는 어스렐름의 유능한 격투가들을 모으고 렐름의 평화를 위해 아웃월드와 모탈컴뱃을 진행합니다. 대회는 라이덴의 승리로 막을 내리지만 승리의 기쁨도 잠시 얽혀버린 시간선과 간사한 생숭의 음모로 리우캉은 역경을 맞이하죠. 하지만 그를 지지하는 많은 격투가들의 도움을 받아 결국 시간의 수호자 힘을 되찾게 되고 타이탄 생숭의 침략을 저지하는 데 성공해 어스렐름의 평화를 지켜냅니다. 하지만 그는 시간의 수호자로서 한계를 느끼게 되고 자신의 뒤를 이어갈 후계자를 고민하죠.
My loyal partner had warned me. Reclaiming my power as keeper of time might have unforeseen consequences. In this, as in most things, he proved prescient. The process I had undergone did irreparable harm to my body. Taking back my power had cost me my immortality. While my lifespan would still stretch across eons, I would one day perish. And if the war with Titan Shang Tsung taught me anything, it is that this timeline is not safe without a protector. Yet I had never given thought to choosing a successor. Who is it that could replace me and protect my new era? The answer, of course, is Geras. Tireless and meticulous, he is perfectly suited to be entrusted with this grave duty. And no one knows better the temptations of the hourglass. I have no doubt he will be above them.
시간의 모래시계 수호자 게라스. 그는 어스렐름의 수호자 리우캉을 도와 생숭의 음모를 밝혀내고 위기에 처한 렐름을 리우캉과 함께 해결해 나가는데요. 얽히고 설킨 시간선의 문제와 의문의 존재를 밝혀가며 사건 해결에 큰 도움을 주는 지원자입니다. 결국 타이탄 생숭의 음모를 저지하고 렐름을 지켜내는데 성공합니다. 그의 리우캉은 큰 감사를 표하고 시간의 수호자 역할을 맡기게 되죠.
Thank you, Geras.
Though the barriers between timelines had been rebuilt, there was no question that they could again be broken. Protecting this timeline would require eternal vigilance, so that it could not fall victim to further outside aggression. But nothing in my countless lifetimes had prepared me for this task. In none of them had multiple timelines ever coexisted. Monitoring them for threats was an entirely novel problem. It would require a novel solution. I discovered that though the timelines no longer touched, their meeting had left them intertwined. I can now secretly surveil all timelines, keeping watch for potential danger. It pleases me to do this service for the new era. Lord Liu Kang may rest assured that it is secure.
팽지한 마을의 은둔고수 라이덴은 책임감 있고 성실하게 살아가는 청년입니다. 그는 자신이 마을을 지켜야 한다는 사명감을 가지고 있죠. 어느 날 어스렐름 수호를 부탁하러 나타난 리우캉 세력에 합류하게 되고 소림사에서 수련과 경쟁을 통해 어스렐름 대표가 되는데 번개의 아물렛과 힘을 얻은 그는 아웃월드와의 모탈컴뱃에서도 챔피언을 먹습니다. 그 후 타이탄 생순과의 전투를 통해 필멸자가 되지만 자신의 운명에 어떤 의문을 가지게 됩니다.
Were it not for my godly counterpart, I would not have survived the battle against Titan Shang Tsung. Meeting him, though, raised questions. Why did I replace him in this new era? Why was I made mortal? Lord Liu Kang told me of his Raiden's nobility and righteousness, about his steadfast leadership in the defense of Earthrealm. He also told me about Raiden's dark side, how he could be consumed by rage and cast aside the rules he otherwise lived by. Making me mortal and incapable of such anger was to keep me from following in his footsteps. Though I understood the reasons why, I felt I had been done a disservice. To survive the coming battles, I may need the edge that only great rage can bring. As the Shaolin couldn't aid me, I sought out someone who could. Someone to stoke the fire within me and teach me to master it. For this, I could have no better teacher than the Shirai Ryu's Grand Master.
라이덴의 절친 펑라오. 그는 팽지한 마을의 따분한 일상에 지쳐 있을 즈음 리우캉의 어스렐름 합류 제안에 한껏 들뜨게 되는데요. 무술 실력이 뛰어나고 선한 마음을 가졌지만 약간은 가볍고 신중하지 못한 캐릭터입니다. 그는 생숭의 음모를 저지하기 위해 켄시 일행과 나서서 좋은 동료들을 만나게 되고 어스렐름 대표 격투가 중 한 명으로 자리매김하죠.
It was inevitable that the Shaolin Masters had me join them. They knew just how much future initiates could learn from me. Shujinko was one of my earliest. His ability to absorb anyone's powers and skills was amazing. With the right training, he could become our greatest champion. I knew that I alone could give it to him. But as his proficiency grew, so did his ego. In love with himself and his power, Shujinko became a threat to the realms. He hadn't learned humility, because I wasn't the one who could teach it. I should have listened to Raiden's warning and not tried to train Shujinko alone. After he was subdued, Shujinko's accumulated abilities and memories were taken from him. He is once again a new initiate, ready to begin his training. This time, Raiden and I train Shujinko together. He will become the champion he is destined to be. And I will fulfill my duties, humbly and cooperatively.
링쿠웨이의 그랜드마스터 서브제로. 얼음 공격을 하는 그는 모탈컴뱃 간판 캐릭터 중 한 명입니다. 본명은 비한. 그는 리우캉을 도와 어스렐름을 지키려는 격투가로 등장하지만 자신의 야망과 오만함에 선을 넘게 되고 결국 간사한 생숭의 모략에 넘어가 그를 지지하는 적대 세력으로 돌아서게 됩니다. 그 과정에서 아버지를 고의로 죽였다는 사실을 알게 된 스콜피온과 분노의 혈전을 하는데 결국 형제인 스콜피온 스모크와 완전히 절연하게 됩니다. 타이탄 생숭의 침략이 저지됐음에도 그의 야망은 끝나지 않고 링쿠웨이 세력 내부의 갈등은 깊어져만 가는데요.
I had broken the Lin Kuei free of Liu Kang's enslavement. We were now masters of our destiny and could take our place among Earthrealm's great nations. But taking and holding territory would require a vast army. I needed more fighters to make our presence felt. Then I recalled Shang Tsung's dragon warriors. An army of them would be unstoppable. But trafficking in such strong magic would surely draw Liu Kang's attention. Sector advised that we avoid detection by building our army using science, not sorcery. We've invested much into this endeavor, and we are beginning to see results. Once again proving the depths of Sector's genius. When we are done, all of Earthrealm will honor our desires and heed our demands. If not, they will face the Lin Kuei's wrath.
링쿠웨이의 닌자 중 한 명인 스모크. 그는 자신의 이름과 걸맞게 연기를 남기고 사라지며 빠른 공격을 주로 하는데요. 링쿠웨이 가문에 양자로 들어와 서브제로에게 무시받으며 형제로 인정받지 못하는 캐릭터이지만 리우캉을 도와 생숭과 콴치의 음모를 저지하고 스콜피온과 함께 링쿠웨이의 명예를 지키기 위해 고군분투합니다. 그 과정에서 서브제로의 변절을 알게 된 뒤 스콜피온과 함께 링쿠웨이를 탈퇴하고 그에게 진정한 의형제로 인정받아 뜻을 함께하죠.
Kuai Liang and I were working hard to build our new clan. But even with the help of his close friend Harumi, it was difficult. The biggest problem was finding the right initiates. Then, one night, while walking outside Harumi's compound, I was attacked. I thought at first it was a Lin Kuei assassin, but his strikes were too uncertain, too angry. My attacker, it turns out, was a boy. Homeless and hungry, his assault was born of desperation. He needed money so that he could eat. It was like looking at myself 15 years ago. I would have ended up just like him if the Lin Kuei hadn't taken me in. So I took the boy to Kuai Liang, who also appreciated his fire. We made him our first initiate. The boy's name? Hanzo Hasashi.
또 다른 모탈컴뱃의 대표 캐릭터 스콜피온. 그의 본명은 콰이량으로 쿠나이와 불사슬 여신을 다룹니다. 경이로움과 책임감이 높은 그는 생숭의 음모에 대적해 어스렐름을 지켜내려 노력하지만 야망과 오만함을 드러내는 서브제로에 이상한 낌새를 느낍니다. 결국 생숭의 모략에 넘어간 서브제로를 만류하던 중 아버지의 살해를 저지른 그와 완전한 절연을 하며 전투하게 되는데요. 치열한 결투 도중 눈에 큰 상처를 입게 되고 서브제로와 의지하며 링쿠웨이를 탈퇴하게 되죠. 그 후 적대 세력이 된 서브제로에게 복수를 다짐하며 링쿠웨이의 명예회복과 재기를 노립니다.
No sooner had Titan Shang Tsung been defeated than Bihan and his loyalists hunted us down. Outnumbered, we fled to Japan. There, we sought refuge from an old family friend. As children, we played together. But Harumi Shirai was a woman now, the head of her clan. Her strength, beauty, and intellect awed me. Also incensed by Bihan's betrayal, Harumi agreed to help me forge a new clan, one that would stand against him and defend Earthrealm. Her aid proved invaluable, and as time went on, we grew closer. To honor Harumi and pay respects to my new bride, I named the clan after her, calling it the Shirai Ryu. Now the battle against my brother begins in earnest. The Shirai Ryu won't rest until Bihan is defeated and the Lin Kuei's honor restored.
변방의 마을에서 하루하루 약을 팔아 생계를 유지하던 생숭. 생활고에 시달리던 그는 갑자기 나타난 의문의 인물에 의해 자신의 악한 본성을 일깨우게 되고 특유의 간사함과 잔머리로 아웃월드에 혼란을 불어일으킵니다. 샤오 장군과 콴치까지 합심해 거대한 음모를 꾸미던 생숭은 자신을 돕던 조력자의 정체를 알게 된 후 리우칸과 잠시 협력해 타이탄 생숭과 콴치의 침략을 저지하게 되는데요. 결국 자신이 벌려놓은 많은 잘못에 의해 감옥에 갇히게 되는 결론을 맞이합니다.
After escaping Lei Chin prison, I was hounded by the Imperial Police. I needed a place to hide and to recuperate while I plotted the best way forward. I knew the remote canton of my youth would be perfect. To escape capture, I traveled by sea. Little did I know that a gargantuan storm was brewing. My tiny craft was smashed apart. I closed my eyes, waiting to drown, hoping that the Netherrealm wouldn't claim my soul. But when I reopened them, I found myself not in hell, but on a deserted island. From its ruins, I could tell that great sorcerers had once lived there. In the caves beneath the ruins, I found what I can only describe as a well of souls. Once I learned how to wield its power, I will become invincible.
아웃월드의 여제 신데, 어스렐름과의 모탈컴뱃을 야심차게 진행하지만 강력한 챔피언 라이덴의 등장으로 패배하고 맙니다. 그녀는 생숭의 음모에 의해 혼돈을 맞게 된 아웃월드를 어떻게든 지켜내려 고군분투하는데요. 리우캉과 동맹으로 전투하던 중 영혼의 집합체 얼맥이 선왕이었던 제라드로 돌아오게 되고 두 사람은 감격의 재회를 하게 됩니다. 하지만 반가움도 잠시 다른 차원의 강력한 신데레에 의해 안타까운 죽음을 맞이하는 그녀는 자신의 딸 밀리나에게 왕좌를 물려주게 되죠. 신델은 제라드의 영혼 속으로 들어가 그와 영원히 함께하는 삶을 살게 됩니다.
As the darkness enveloped me, I took a long last look at my family. I did not expect to see them again until their souls joined mine in the living forest. But miraculously, my beloved husband delivered me from oblivion. Though he couldn't save my body, Jared had preserved my soul. Like him and countless others, I am now a part of Ermac. Yet ours is not a peaceful repose. The collected souls within Ermac have their own needs and agendas. Before we can speak as one, we must first reach consensus. I had thought, as the former rulers of Outworld, I and Jared would hold sway. But here we are, two souls among many thousands, fighting for the right to be heard. And if there is one thing we do well together, it is fight. We will win the right to govern Ermac as we once had governed Outworld. And we will rule for the benefit of all.
아웃월드의 공주 밀리나. 불행하게도 타르카트 병에 걸린 그녀는 신델의 뒤를 잇지 못할 위기에 처해 방황하게 되고 불시에 튀어나오는 타르카트 증상으로 호악함과 잔인성이 발휘되어 혈청 없이는 정상적인 생활을 할 수 없는 상황에 놓입니다. 그녀는 타이탄 생숭의 침략을 저지하던 중 신델의 갑작스런 죽음으로 인해 아웃월드의 여제를 물려받게 되는데요. 그 후 아웃월드에 책임감 있고 현명한 황제가 되기 위해서 노력합니다.
We follow them. They will lead us to it.
Agreed.
Though worried about how the public might react, I met with Baraka to discuss his Tarkatans. Speaking from his heart, he moved me. I agreed to visit his colony and see how his people lived. The conditions were atrocious. This was one of my mother's few mistakes. Like all Outworlders, she treated Tarkatans with scorn. What they deserved from us was compassion. And the only way to get it for them was to reveal my affliction. To show all my subjects that even an empress could get Tarkat. The scandal my revelation caused was intense. But with the help of Kitana and Tanya, I emerged from it a stronger empress than ever. My honesty, empathy, and resolve won over my remaining doubters. There is no longer any question that I am fit to lead the Empire.
아웃월드의 공주 키타나. 그녀는 밀리나의 동생으로 신중하고 배려심 있는 성격을 가지고 있습니다. 아웃월드는 생숭의 음모와 샤오 장군의 배신으로 인해 위기를 맞지만 그녀는 리우캉 세력과 함께 힘을 합쳐 타이탄 생숭을 몰아내는 데 성공하고 밀리나의 든든한 후원자이자 현명한 리더로서 아웃월드의 공권을 지휘하게 됩니다.
General Shao's revolt left Outworld's armies in tatters. We were vulnerable to enemies both foreign and domestic. That's why my sister asked me to take command, to stitch her military back together and purge Shao's loyalists within it. she trusted only me with the task. The soldiers, however, had little faith. They thought me a spoiled dilettante, unprepared and unfit to serve. That I could fight mattered little. All that mattered was that I wasn't one of them. I finally earned their loyalty by orchestrating an epic victory over Shao and his rebels. Though the general himself escaped, his forces were smashed. For as long as I am able, I will lead the Empress's armies in defense of Outworld. Through strength, we will achieve peace.
아웃월드의 강력한 격투가이자 신데레 장군이었던 샤오. 그는 어스렐름에 대한 반감이 상당히 컸고 그에 따라 신데레에게 주제넘게 지시하는 행동을 보여 경고를 받기도 하는데요. 야망이 있는 그는 생숭의 음모와 더불어 아웃월드 정복을 꿈꾸고 결국 신데레에 대항하게 됩니다. 다른 시간선에서는 황제이기도 하고 막강한 전투력을 가진 공포의 군주로 활동하던 그였지만 생순과 콴치의 계획이 실패함에 따라 감옥에 수감되고 맙니다. 그런 상황에서도 그는 포기하지 않고 재기를 꿈꾸게 되죠.
The battle had been lost, but the war isn't over. I won't stop fighting until I take Outworld's throne. That they thought Leichin prison would hold me is laughable. Once free, I began planning my next campaign. I would need an unstoppable army to overthrow Melina. Unfortunately, most of my former soldiers lacked the courage to rally to my standard. Rebuilding my army would require finding new recruits. And that task is proving easier than expected. Outworld's golden age has left more than a few behind. Without hope, without power, they eagerly heed my call to tear down Melina's government.
샤오 장군이 밀어주는 그의 신복 레이코. 아웃월드와의 모탈컴뱃에서 패기 있게 어스렐름 챔피언인 라이덴과 결투를 하기 위해 등장하지만 힘도 못 써보고 떡실신합니다. 그 후 정의의 편이 된 리메이의 앞길을 막아서는 레이코. 그녀에게도 발리며 샤오 장군의 안목을 의심하게 되는 캐릭터입니다. 결국 후반으로 갈수록 더욱더 비중이 없어지지만 샤오 장군에 대한 그의 충성심을 의심할 여지가 없죠.
With General Shao freed from prison, we began raising a new army against the royal family. Though many were eager recruits, few were good at soldiering. It was so bad, the general was forced to change tactics. He decided that we needed a doomsday weapon. That weapon isn't a thing, though. It is a monster. Onaga, the Dragon King. The general told me the old legends were true. That his ancient ancestor defeated Onaga, trapping him deep inside Mount Sagan. The Dragon King is still there today. His pent-up fury waiting to be unleashed. Because Onaga is so dangerous, the general wouldn't risk trying to tame him before. But now, he feels we have no choice. Though I likely won't survive, I accept this mission gladly. I can think of no greater honor than to give my life in the general's service.
아웃월드의 친히 되었던 리메이. 그녀는 선왕 제라드의 암살을 막지 못한 오명을 쓴 채 좌천당한 캐릭터인데요. 그럼에도 아웃월드에 대한 그녀의 충성심과 정직함은 오래도록 변하지 않았습니다. 리우캉을 통해 생숭의 음모를 알게 된 리메이는 신데레에게 정보를 전달하게 되고 타이탄 생숭의 침공을 막아내는데 성공하는데요. 그로 인해 그녀는 다시 제국의 인정을 받고 자신의 명예를 회복하게 됩니다.
There can be no debt between friends. As her reign began, Empress Melina faced many challenges. To meet them, she turned to the people she trusted. Her sister to lead her army, and me to lead her imperial police. Though I missed Empress Sindel dearly, I was glad my ties with her family had been mended. But while it was an honor to be made responsible for Outworld's internal security, I soon realized accepting the appointment was a mistake. I'm not cut out to be a bureaucrat, nor am I patient enough to navigate the Imperial Court's politics. I was at my best patrolling Sundo's streets, when I could feel the city's pulse and serve and protect its citizens directly. That's why I resigned my post and resumed my role as Sundo's first constable. I end each day knowing I've made a difference.
아웃월드 황제의 친위대인 타냐. 삼절곤을 주먹 위로 휘두르는 그녀는 이전 친위대였던 리메이의 과오를 잊지 않고 그녀를 적대적으로 대합니다. 하지만 리메이가 그럴 만한 사람이 아니라는 것을 깨닫게 되고 마음을 열어 생각하는 시간을 가지는데 무언가 이상한 낌새를 챈 타냐는 진실을 찾기 위해 행동합니다.
Until recently, I hadn't met Limei, but I had heard the stories. How the Umgadi's matron superior blamed her for not preventing Emperor Jared's murder. How she quit in disgrace rather than accept punishment. But those stories didn't fit the woman I now knew. Limei would never have been so negligent. Eventually, I uncovered the truth. The failures and mistakes which led to the Emperor's murder, they resulted from poor decisions made by the matron superior themselves. They made Limei their scapegoat. When the Empress found out, she wanted the Umgadi disbanded. But I convinced her that it could be reformed. To make sure it did, she put me in charge. I am humbled by this sacred responsibility. The Umgadi, my sisters, they are my life. I will not let them be brought down by the acts of a selfish few.
오더렐름의 수도인 세이도 출신 헤빅, 그는 콴치에게 마법을 받는 대가로 공물을 바치고 그의 세력이 되는데요. 콴치에게 받은 능력으로 자신의 신체를 훼손해 싸우는 그로테스크한 격투술을 구현합니다. 스토리 모드 중 스콜피온과의 전투에서 얼굴에 큰 화상을 입고 끔찍한 얼굴을 하게 되죠.
Quan Chi's defeat had cost me everything. For months I had furthered his plot, and now I had to start over. Saido's people were still in chains. That's when Rain approached me. On the run from Empress Melina, he was desperate for help. And though I'd had my fill of sorcerers, this one was different. I agreed to provide him safe haven. He agreed to help topple Saido's government. And topple it we did. Rain summoned a wave so vast, so powerful, that it crushed the capital. Saido's fascist rulers were swept away. My people are finally free. They can chart their own course, needing only to follow their own desires. Their lives are now blessed by anarchy.
아웃월드의 대마법사 레인. 물을 자유자재로 다루는 마법사인 그는 신델 세력의 고위 마법사였으나 생숭의 음모에 의해 자신을 아껴주던 신델에게서 돌아서게 되는데요. 어스렐름과 신델에 대항해 싸우던 그는 생순과 콴치의 침략이 실패하게 되자 결국 도망을 치게 됩니다.
To elude capture by Empress Melina, I joined Havoc's crusade in Saido. There I summoned more magic than I thought possible, and drowned out the old regime. Havoc's longed-for anarchy had been achieved. He was more than satisfied. But I was left empty and broken. Had I been satisfied as Outworld's High Mage, not let myself be tempted by Shang Tsung, a great city would not now lay in ruins. I've caused devastation, ended thousands of lives, all because of my blind ambition. I've betrayed my oath, my sovereign, and my realm. These high crimes merit punishment, and I'll accept whatever the Empress gives me. My only ambition now is to one day be forgiven.
뱀파이어 종족인 베이테르누스의 니타라. 그녀는 콴치의 계획을 도와주는 대가로 자신의 종족이 더 이상 햇빛에 괴로워하지 않게 되는 보상을 받았고, 더 나아가 자신의 종족 번식과 렐름 정복을 꿈꾸며 야망을 키워가죠. 하지만 타이탄 생순과 콴치의 실패로 인해 종족 위기를 맞게 되는데,
Quan Chi's plot collapsed. Along with it, my plan to secure new beings to feed my starving people. Because I'd advocated for partnering with him, I was held responsible. If I didn't seize for Viternus' new feeding grounds, the Coven would banish me. But then, I had a revelation. I didn't need to conquer realms to feed my people. I simply needed to capture enough beings to breed them. Once they multiply, Viternus will have a limitless, renewable source of food. And I only need a few thousand to start. A number so small compared to the billions in the realms that no one will notice as people go missing. But it will be more than enough to establish our breeding stock and feed a ravenous Viternus.
시청해주셔서 감사합니다. 저는 또 다른 영상으로 찾아오겠습니다.